Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 529 based on novel. So let's start. Such cunning and decisive actions, seven-colored Daoist, Wang Lin was witnessing everything and his mind was completely clear. He understood why the seven-colored Daoist was willing to be trapped in the illusion. Fan Shanmeng had lured the seven-colored Daoist into the illusion, and he had allowed her to bring him in. However, he had used his powerful cultivation to forcibly change the illusion to go back to the battle where the seven-colored celestial sovereign shattered. The one thing he wants the most is to find the third soul. However, even after all these years, he still couldn't find any clues about the third soul. He doesn't know where the third soul is hiding and who it is now. Thus, he borrowed this illusion to return back to when the seven-colored celestial sovereign split into the three souls and seven fragments. Then he is going to follow the third soul like he is doing now. He is going to see where it went to reincarnate. If he really sees where the third soul went, it could be a chance to find the third soul even if the illusion is fake. I can't let him succeed. If he really does manage to see what happened, he might really find the third soul. Wang Lin, still surrounded by the ghostly face sail, charged forward. He was here with his origin soul, so he was much faster than usual. However, he still couldn't keep up with the seven-colored Daoist and the third soul. Those two disappeared before him and Wang Lin spread out his divine soul but still couldn't find them. I can't continue like this, I'm too slow. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes. His right hand hit his body and he spat out a mouthful of essence energy. This essence energy was more precious than essence blood. His origin soul immediately weakened. His origin soul stepped forward and fused with the essence energy. His speed suddenly increased greatly and he rushed forward 100 times faster than before. In an instant, Wang Lin appeared far away, and a flash of seven-colored light appeared at the edge of his divine sense. Still need a bit more. Wang Lin clenched his teeth and spat out another mouthful of essence energy. His speed increased greatly once more. Sharp pain came from his origin soul as if he was going to be torn apart. He had reached the fast speed he could withstand. With this speed, Wang Lin finally caught up to the seven-colored Daoist with his divine sense. He also saw the light that was the third soul ahead of the seven-colored Daoist. The seven-colored Daoist frowned. He had, of course, noticed Wang Lin. He had changed this illusion by force, so he naturally knew someone else had entered. However, right now was a critical moment for him to find where the third soul had gone. This kind of chance was once in a lifetime. After all, no one in the cave world could use such a powerful illusion spell. He completely ignored Wang Lin and focused on locking onto the third soul. He wanted to see where the third soul would go. As long as he could find where it was going, he would be confident in finding the third soul after leaving this illusion. Time instantly passed by. Wang Lin coughed out a third mouthful of essence energy to barely keep up with the seven-colored Daoist. His origin soul seemed to be burning as he rushed forward. The star system before him seemed to blur and revealed a star map. This star map was like the whole cave condensed. Wang Lin immediately recognized it as a map of the entire cave world. There was still no realm ceiling formation separating the inner and outer realms, they were still whole. Wang Lin personally saw the third soul charge into the star map. Although it didn't head to the center, it was close to the center. If one carefully divided the map, it was clearly the inner realm. Inner realm. The third soul went to the inner realm. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light and he disappeared in a flash. The seven-colored Daoist let out a roar and his hand formed a seal. The star map began to expand rapidly, and the third soul that had disappeared was found once more. The third soul pierced through the current cloud sea and flew toward the summoned river. Perhaps it would stop in the summoned river, or it could pierce through to another star system. It wouldn't take long for Wang Lin to know where the third soul had gone to reincarnate. However, similarly, if Wang Lin could see it, the seven-colored Daoist could see it as well. The seven-colored Daoist was filled with excitement. Although he didn't know if this was all real or if it was happening the same way it did in the past, this was a chance. The first chance he had over the countless years. If he finds the third soul, I'll without a doubt die. I must find it before him. If I can't find it, then I can't let anyone else find it. Wang Lin's eyes were cold and decisive. However, his cultivation level was far lower, so he could not stop this. Seeing the third soul seem to slow down and about to stop, the excitement in the seven-colored Daoist had reached a peak. At this moment, Wang Lin suddenly stopped, and his hand formed a seal. The ghostly face sail around his origin soul flashed and his origin soul suddenly disappeared. When he reappeared, the world was covered in seven-colored light. Wang Lin's body trembled and he returned to the first illusion where the seven-colored Daoist sat filled with excitement. Wang Lin's origin soul was surrounded by the sail, and after looking around, his origin soul returned to his body in the first illusion. The moment he entered his body, he stood up and walked toward the seven-colored Daoist without hesitation. He was unable to stop the seven-colored Daoist in the second illusion, but he could return to the first illusion using the sail. He could awaken the seven-colored Daoist here and achieve his goal. Just as Wang Lin closed in on the seven-colored Daoist, the 9 firebirds suddenly opened their eyes. They emitted a powerful heat wave. This heat was not the power of fire, but light. The heat of light was countless times stronger than fire. As it shrouded Wang Lin, he felt like he was going to melt. His hair caught on fire and instantly dissipated. Wang Lin's body was filled with intense pain. He felt as if he would be turned to gas if he got a bit closer. I can't get close. Wang Lin's face became pale and he became anxious. He didn't know what the seven-colored Daoist had seen inside the second illusion, but he knew that if he didn't have a method of stopping him, then he had to escape immediately. However, Wang Lin was unwilling to leave like this. He retreated a few steps and stared at the excited seven-colored Daoist that was surrounded by the 9 suns. How can I awaken him? How should I do it? How could I do it? Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly as various thoughts appeared in his mind. After several breaths, Wang Lin's eyes suddenly narrowed. Illusion. An illusionary world is like a dream. If I consider him to be sleeping, I just need to wake him up, then this problem has become a lot more simple. If he is asleep, I just need to wake him up. Wake him up, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and he waved his sleeve. His thunder and fire essence flew out, forming a fire vortex that gave off bolts of thunder. At the same time, Wang Lin formed a seal. His life and death essence, true and false essence, and karma essence all flew out. They fused into the vortex, making it even larger. In the end, the slaughter essence appeared. The moment it entered, the vortex rumbled and changed shapes due to Wang Lin's will. In the end, it took the shape of a horn. Wang Lin had used his 6 essences to form this horn that could amplify his voice. The essences rotating inside the horn could cause the sound that entered to increase countless fold. After doing all of this, Wang Lin activated all his 3 ancient clan powers to form ancient power. The shadow of an ancient one appeared behind him. The veins on Wang Lin's face swelled as he sucked in a breath. Then he let out a roar into the horn formed by his 6 essences. This was the roar of the ancient god, of an ancient one. This was the roar Wang Lin had learned in the ancient tomb, the same one he had used against the sovereign. The sky collapsed and the earth trembled. Rifts were ripped open and the world changed colors. Countless spatial rifts were torn open between the Wang Lin and the 7-colored Daoist. A storm started to rage. This was also caused by Wang Lin's roar. And this was all before it was amplified by the horn formed by his 6 essences. Wang Lin's roar turned into a storm and entered the horn formed by his 6 essences. After echoing inside for a while, the storm came out of the other end of the horn. The roar was already extremely powerful, and now it had been amplified countless fold. The first illusion began to disintegrate at a rapid pace. This roar formed an unimaginable sound and landed on the 9 suns around the 7-colored Daoist like a storm. The 9 suns showed signs of extinguishing, and the sound directly entered the 7-colored Daoist's ears. Inside the second illusion, the 7-colored Daoist was filled with excitement. Normally, this kind of excitement wouldn't arise within a cultivator like him, but he couldn't help it right now. He had waited for so long, It could be said he had waited a lifetime. Today, he had finally found a clue leading to the third soul through the power from the immortal astral continent. He didn't know if this was real or something he had imagined, but this was the first time he was so close to the third soul. In his gaze, he saw the third soul penetrate the summoned river and head toward what would later be the brilliant void. His hand formed a seal as he wanted a closer look, but just at this moment, a shocking change occurred. He heard a thunderous roar in his ears. At first it wasn't loud, but soon it increased greatly and became the only sound in the seven-colored Daoist's ears. Roar? Under this roar, everything before the seven-colored Daoist seemed to be torn apart by a powerful force. It seemed like it wanted to pull him out from this second illusion. The third soul that he could still see clearly disappeared before him. The star map before him blurred and collapsed. Not just the star map, but everything around him disintegrated. All of this happened too fast. This was his most excitement-filled moment, but just as he was about to see where the third soul had gone, everything disappeared. The seven-colored Daoist was startled. He couldn't stop this, because it was someone in the first illusion waking him up. No. After being startled for a moment, he let out an extremely angry roar. This roar came from his mouth and also came from the mouth of the seven-colored Daoist in the first illusion. It collided with Wang Lin's roar and formed a destructive force. The horn formed by the six essences instantly shattered. Wang Lin coughed out blood, feeling like his whole body was going to shatter. At the same time, the nine suns scattered and a powerful impact shot toward him. At this moment of danger, Wang Lin used his ancient immortal spell to recover. He waved his hand and the ghostly face sail surrounded him. The moment the impact got close, Wang Lin disappeared. 1,000 feet outside the seven-colored Daoist in the mysterious space filled with fierce beasts, Wang Lin opened his eyes. He coughed out blood and his eyes were dim, but he retreated without any hesitation. With one step, he disappeared without a trace. When he reappeared, he was extremely far away and coughed out another mouthful of blood. Wang Lin didn't even have time to heal before he escaped like crazy. The seven-colored Daoist sitting within the large amount of beast corpses suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were bloodshot and his expression was twisted. He stared straight ahead and let out a violent roar. Wang Lin, if I don't kill you, then I'm not a person. This roar echoed across the star domain. The large amount of fierce beast corpses trembled. They turned to dust and scattered in all directions. The seven-colored Daoist chased after Wang Lin with monstrous killing intent. Wang Lin was very far but still heard that angry roar. His face was pale as he coughed out blood without hesitation and escaped using blood escape. Nonsense. Even if I hadn't destroyed his chance of finding the third soul, he still must have had ill intent for chasing after me all the way here. Although Wang Lin's eyes were bleak, he didn't regret his actions. This had to be done. If he hadn't destroyed the seven-colored Daoist's plan and had gone to the altar instead, he would merely be delaying his death. If everything inside that illusion was real, then once the seven-colored Daoist found the third soul, there would be no hope for the entire cave world. It would be under the full control of the new seven-colored celestial sovereign. At that time, Wang Lin could have no control over his own life. He absolutely wouldn't let something like this happen, so he had to destroy the seven-colored Daoist's plan. Even if the consequences pushed him infinitely close to death. At this moment, as he was fleeing, the space behind him trembled and he could feel the seven-colored Daoist chasing him. The seven-colored Daoist was extremely powerful and his divine sense could reach very far, so it would be extremely easy for him to find Wang Lin. Right now I can only head to the altar. Maybe the altar could resolve my danger. I hope so. Wang Lin had pondered for a bit before he decided to enter the seven-colored Daoist's illusion. Not only had he weighed the possible gains versus the losses, he had also used the All-Seer's soul to divinate the future. He had found that the altar contained a path to survival. Fan Shan had said that this spatial rift in the Cloud Sea was opened during the battle where Lian Daofei was devoured by the heavenly Dao and the seven-colored celestial sovereign was shattered. She had also said that this place was connected to a mysterious space, which was why so many fierce beasts appeared. Deep within this spatial rift floated a giant altar. This altar was in ruins, but it didn't move, it stayed in one place. The altar was completely black, the same as the space around it. However, one corner gave off a gentle light. The reason the altar remained in place was because a corner of it seemed to be connected to another space. Ripples were echoing from the corner, causing it to linger for tens of thousands of years. The space it was connected to wasn't undamaged, there were several spatial rifts there as well. The light came from those rifts. It was as if a dart had pierced a piece of paper but got stuck. There would naturally be an opening where the dart penetrated the paper. Bursts of Ancient One aura were coming the altar, but it didn't spread too far. It seemed there was an invisible force preventing it from spreading out too far. This altar was like a small mountain and had 8 edges. There were layers of steps around it, and the center of the altar was a flat area about 1,000 feet wide. If you looked closely, you would see an ancient formation on the altar. At the center of the altar, there was an arm. The Ancient One aura was coming from this arm. However, this arm wasn't very large, only a few hundred feet long. It remained there, silent and motionless. Because of the spatial rift, a corner of the altar was stuck in another world. This other world was filled with flowers and birds, and the earth was covered in celestial grass. There were many small beasts playing, as if it was a celestial garden. Just at this moment, a miserable scream came from that space. This scream was filled with helplessness and pleading. Anyone who heard it would undoubtedly feel pity and sympathy. Little ancestors, please let me go. I really don't have any more stories to tell. Even if you give me more treasures, I have no stories left. After more than 100 years, my mouth is dry from speaking. I can't stand it anymore. As the screams echoed, a human figure with a haggard face, dim eyes, and a painful expression struggled to come out of the spatial rift. There was clearly a barrier around the spatial rift, but it had no effect on this person. More than half of his body came out, revealing his appearance. Through the rift, one could see 2 little girls, around 7 or 8 years old, squatting behind this figure. Both of them were very cute. One was wearing a purple dress and the other a green dress. Han, how about we let him go? He looks very pitiful. The little girl in green looked like she couldn't bear to continue watching and looked at her companion. When the man heard those words, tears began to flow and panic filled his eyes. Wah, he hasn't finished the story yet, don't take pity on him. Remember how he threatened us when he came here? The little girl called Han grabbed the man's leg and dragged him back as he let out a mournful scream. Greed, quickly, finish that story. You were just talking about the moongazer serpent, quickly tell the rest. That little girl called Wah smiled as she looked at Greed. After thinking for a bit, she spoke. How about this, tell us another 1,000 years of stories and I'll decide whether or not to let you go. Greed let out a howl and watched his body get dragged back to this terrifying place. When he heard Wah's words, even more tears flowed out. I knew this would happen, you too. You guys? It was the same last time. I really don't have any stories, I want to drink some water. Greed's eyes were filled with despair and his heart was filled with regret. He had encountered Wang Lin in the outer realm, and in the end, the stench on his body was removed. Originally, he let out a breath of relief. However, shortly after, he encountered the war between the inner and outer realms. This war made him extremely excited, perhaps he could obtain even more treasures in this war, and his cultivation level would increase. Greed followed the outer realm army to the Cloud Sea and then secretly left. Following his sense for treasure, he found the spatial rift in the Cloud Sea and entered it. He was extremely excited because he realized that a powerful treasure aura was here. This aura made him laugh like crazy for almost 15 minutes. He believed his luck was great and he might encounter a great fortune here. His cultivation level would increase and he wouldn't have to be afraid of that Wang Lin anymore. He was going to steal all his treasures back. With these ambitions, Greed followed his treasure sense inside the cave and actually found this ancient altar. Greed was extremely excited when he saw this altar. He also saw the world inside the rift that the corner of the altar was stuck in. When he saw this, he almost let out a wolf howl. He saw countless celestial grasses. Many of them were ones he had only seen in books, and many he hadn't seen before. Almost all of them could increase his cultivation level once he refined them. There were simply too many celestial grasses there, enough for him to almost stop breathing. Aside from celestial grass, he saw extremely gentle celestial beasts that had terrifying cultivation levels. The celestial beasts were chasing and playing with each other. This made Greed even more excited. From his experience, he knew they wouldn't bother him if he didn't provoke them. It was also likely that, just like the Thunder Dragon in his youth, they would become his pets. All of this made Greed tremble in excitement, but he didn't lose his himself. He carefully observed the rift. He wanted to see if there were any cultivators guarding this place. After observing for several days, he saw two little girls appear. In his view, these two little girls posed no threat. Greed laughed happily and entered the rift. The barrier on the rift had no effect on him at all. Greed didn't feel this was strange at all. He had encountered things similar to this many times. After entering the rift, he saw that the girls were shocked to see him, and he became even more excited. He waved his hand to trap the two little girls and began to pick the celestial grasses. However, he could never forget the miserable things that happened after. He still remembered what those two little girls said after he trapped them. Han, who is he? Why did he suddenly appear here? I don't know either. Strange, how did he enter our Purple Sun Sect's beast farm realm? Do you think he is crazy? Those are grasses for the little beasts, why is he putting them in his mouth? The two little girls were startled for a while. Then the girl named Wawa stepped forward, completely ignoring Greed's entrapment. She appeared behind him and gave him a kick. After this kick, Greed's misery began. Thinking about everything that happened, tears appeared in Greed's eyes. He looked at the two little girls filled with pride and felt despair in his heart. He couldn't beat them. Back then, just one kick had almost wasted his cultivation. In his view, these two little girls were simply too terrifying. I'll speak. I'll speak. Last time, that murderous, ugly, shameless, arrogant demon, Wang Lin, was inside the belly of the Moongazer. Greed's belly was filled with fire as he began to speak. This Wang Lin is too despicable. How could he be like this? The little girl in purple named Han frowned and muttered unhappily. Han, do you remember what I told you before? When I went out with teacher to gather herbs, I encountered an extremely strange divine sense. I communicated with him and he told me that his name was Wang Lin. Just as Greed was painfully telling the story in the vast space where the altar was, Wang Lin coughed out another mouthful of blood to use blood escape with a pale face. Behind him, space itself seemed to be burning as 9 firebirds chased after him. A powerful heat wave spread out from the 9 firebirds. Behind them, the 7-colored Daoist was following at a casual pace, filled with killing intent. I want to see where you will escape to. I'll burn your ancient one body to ashes. The more you recover, the more pain you will suffer. I'm going to extract your origin soul and refine it into a treasure. Only by doing that can I resolve the hatred in my heart. Wang Lin's body seemed to be burning and intense pain shrouded his whole being. His blood seemed to be boiling as it moved through his body, causing him intense pain. The blood he coughed out was hot and his body was like a giant furnace that was slowly being burned to ashes. Even though he controlled the fire essence, he could only delay it for a bit. It seemed that not even his fire essence could resist the burning from the 7-colored Daoist spell. Wang Lin's body continued to recover along the way. The more he recovered, the more painful it was, until it got to the point where he almost couldn't bear it anymore. However, Wang Lin didn't waste time. He used blood escape many times to keep running. He was getting closer and closer to the altar. A moment later, after another teleport, Wang Lin saw the altar in the distance. When Wang Lin saw it, his eyes lit up and he moved toward it like a ray of burning fire. It was also at this moment that Greed carefully backed out toward the rift as the two little girls were debating around the name, Wang Lin. Greed seemed to have gone crazy and rushed out toward the rift. The moment he charged out, he shed tears of joy. He looked at the space before him and felt like he had just escaped a life and death calamity. However, he he was only happy for a moment when he saw a burning ray of light flying towards him. Wang Lin? Wang Lin! Greed was startled for a moment and almost couldn't believe his eyes. However, after taking a closer look, he let out a scream. You still won't let me go. I'm all the way here and you still follow me. Greed's face turned pale and he subconsciously retreated. Wang Lin closed in and staggered as he landed on the altar. He coughed out another mouthful of blood. At this moment, Wang Lin also saw Greed, who had suddenly appeared before him. Wang Lin ignored Greed and looked into the distance. In the distance, the space burned, and the 9 giant fire birds turned into suns as they approached. Behind them, the 7-colored daoist filled with killing intent closed in. With every step he took, space itself would tremble. It was extremely terrifying. Greed's face changed once more. His eyes widened and he trembled as he retreated. The power of the 7-colored daoist made him feel dread. This Wang Lin actually provoked such a terrifying figure. Who is this person? Greed trembled and was about to return to the beast farm realm inside the rift. To him, the outside was too dangerous. It was safer to go back and tell the little ancestors' stories. However, just at this moment, the 7-colored daoist raised his right hand and pointed at the altar Wang Lin was on. Is this where you're escaping to? Then let me refine you here. The 7-colored daoist pointed and the 9 suns flew toward Wang Lin. The heat wave rushed toward Wang Lin, incinerating everything in its path. Wang Lin sat down on the altar and stared at the 9 suns flying toward him. He didn't know where the chance of survival was, but he saw the hand in the altar. The ancient one aura this arm gave off was extremely familiar. Wang Lin immediately recognized it as one of Yi Mo's arms. Could this arm be the chance of survival? Wang Lin didn't hesitate, he didn't even have time to look around. He pressed his hands on this arm. If it was anyone else, they wouldn't be able to fuse with this arm, but Wang Lin was different. He had obtained an authentic Ancient One inheritance from Yi Mo. At this moment, the arm gave off a dazzling glow and shrouded Wang Lin completely. At the same time, Greed began to dream in the heat wave. Half of his body entered the rift, but he was too late to enter completely. 1,000 years, 3,000 years, 10,000 years. I'll tell stories for 10,000 years. 2 little ancestors, save me. Just as Greed roared in pain, he felt 2 little hands press against his back. At the same time, a cultivation powerful enough to almost suffocate him rushed into his body from those 2 small hands. This cultivation force caused Greed's body to shine an endless golden light. This golden light spread and Greed's hands moved on their own until they formed a circular pattern. The moment the circular pattern formed, a golden sun appeared in his hand. This golden sun was only the size of a palm, but the power from it was so strong that it shook the entire space here. It shook the cloud sea, it shook the summoned river and the other star systems, and it also shook the entire outer realm. However, there was something even more terrifying to come. This video will end here.